Hi class, Dr. G here. In this video, we're going to talk about quantitative methods in general and survey more particularly. So let's look at quantitative research. First, we have a few types. Experiments are one, surveys, pre-existing data, and quantitative methods associated with observations. We know in quantitative research that our data is based on numbers and or statistics. We know that we need hypotheses, such as the study hypothesis and the null hypothesis. We know that we need to have variables. Independent and dependent variables are the most common, but there's also one called an intermediary variable, which we won't discuss in this video. We'll talk a little bit about it later. We also know that our independent variable must precede the dependent variable. In other words, the independent variable must be the cause of changes to the dependent variable. So if, for instance, in my study, the hypothesis that my study was looking at was there is a difference in how students rate online classes versus on-campus classes. My hypothesis was just that. There is a difference in how each is rated. The null hypothesis is usually a negative statement. So my null hypothesis was there is no difference in how students rate online versus on-campus classes. So we then move on to what we call the level of significance. Our results must meet a specific level of significance that the researcher sets him or herself. So there are generally three levels: the O1 level, the 001 level, the O1 level, and the O5 level. Social scientists typically work at the O5 level. When we talk about the O5 level, what we really mean is that 5% of our results we expect to occur only by chance. Nothing causes that effect except chance. So if our results fall within the O5 level of significance or below it, we can conclude that those results were only by chance and that our study can now disconfirm the null hypothesis. When the null hypothesis is disconfirmed, that means the study hypothesis is confirmed. So in my case, the null hypotheses were disconfirmed, and that meant that there was a difference, a significant difference in how students rated online versus on-campus classes. Okay? So I used a survey method for that. The method that I used, the scales that I used for that were the IDEA survey scales, which are called Likert scales, Likert. The Likert scale was created by Rensis Likert in the 1930s. So, in surveys, like in all quantitative research, we first must start with an RQ, that's cause and effect. Mine was looking at which type of class offering online or on campus affected the results of the IDEA survey. So there was a cause and effect there. Once we establish our RQ, now we have to determine our population. In my case, it was the entire student population of Wilmington University from 2011 to 2015, including 2015. Most researchers would take a sample. I didn't. I studied the entire population, which was over 7,000 IDEA surveys. But most researchers would take a sample using a systematic system like the nth number. And once we did that, we could conclude that our sample was representative and random, and thus limiting bias to only a small opportunity. Okay. Once those numbers are in 2017, we simply plug them into some spreadsheet databases, and all of the numbers will kick out for us. It's really very simple today. I find that many students are intimidated by anything statistical, but in this case, all you have to do is everything else we've talked about. The software will do the rest for you. So if the numbers come out that 4% of my results were due to chance, that meant that 96% of my results were positive in that they confirmed the study hypothesis and disconfirmed the null hypothesis. Those are the important things to be thinking about when one is thinking about doing quantitative studies or writing a quantitative proposal. I hope this helps, and I look forward to seeing you in class.